Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Strickland. I'm your host, joined as always by my co-host Prez. Prez, how are you? The Knicks lost, by the way. If you didn't catch that, if you don't have access to the internet somehow or like technology in 2023, the Knicks lost 111-106 to the Magic. We're going to talk about that game, but Prez, first, how are you doing?
Thank you for your valid concerns. I did watch the game for once live, and look what I hath wrought upon us for doing so.
No, that doesn't count. You watched the Denver game, like half of it. They still won. I don't know. There's a
That's
lot of
because
margin
that's
for
because
error
I
here.
turned that joint off. That's why they
But
won.
I mean, they lost the last two, and you didn't watch live. I'm poking holes in your fake theory to justify not being a good fan.
It's just, it could go either way. It could go either way. I'll tell
Yeah,
you what, though, I did watch on I'm boycotting League Pass, and I don't have cable, so I have to watch through alternative methods.
like a potato stream.
Exactly, and it's like they're fine. They're easy to access. The quality is good, but they're so far. They're even more far behind than they used to be. It'll be I was watching, and they were still talking to Dennis Smith at halftime, and then people on the TL were talking about some buckets, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, you can't be on Twitter when you're doing the illegal streaming. I found I'm a big like Manchester United fan, but like I have to watch like 75% of their matches on illegal streams, right? Or alternative streams, sorry. Because like like that's
Yeah,
what it is. And like the most radio silent I'll ever be watching any sporting event is during a match of theirs. That's the most radio silent I'll ever be because I'm like, it's like 3 minutes behind. And I'm like, nope, don't want to see what people are saying. Don't want to know what's going to happen.
I
Like,
can deal with 1 minute because then I'll still mostly stay off, but then I could pop back in, and there's
I mean, League Pass is
commercials.
like a minute behind anyway on your computer. So it's like, whatever.
Fuck League Pass. I hope. I mean, if they actually get it together on PS5 next year, I will maybe consider it. But man, fuck that. Fuck League Pass. Fuck Adam
Yeah.
Silver.
Yeah. Fuck Adam Silver. We're going to talk about not that. We're going to talk about other things. But before we get started, a few announcements. I'm just going to zip through these because I actually just have no patience to do them tonight. The Strickland has an Instagram. Check that out. That is at the Strict Atlanta on Instagram. We're posting new content there. Please follow us. Also, follow us on YouTube if you're watching this. If you're watching this on there, hit like and then subscribe to the channel if you already have not. We also have new merchandise. Check that out on the website. You know where the website is. Like it's pretty easy. It's on there. Go check it out. This is some of it. It's very nice, very comfortable. The embroidering is very lovely. Highly recommend it. And the Strickland has a Patreon. There are a number of different tiers. You've probably listened to them, me talk about them 7,000 fucking times. So I'm not going to do it tonight. They just have a lot. We have a lot of different tiers. If you're interested, you want to talk to us all the time on Discord and shit like that, check them out. All right, we're going to talk about this game because I want to talk about a few things. And this game was, well, first of all, I want to point this out. If you're watching this on the YouTube, you can see this. Underneath my Twitter handle, I put RJ Barrett is a Rorschach test. And I'm 100% convinced of that now because I can't figure out what to make of anything about this guy anymore. Like every time I think he's about to turn the corner,
He might have broke me today, bro.
yeah, every time I think like it's about, I'm like, okay, like I see it. It's about to happen. And then it's like you get a game like this and I want to be very clear. You can have bad shooting games. I've talked about this all the time. Like I said this on the post game last night again after the Miami game. I thought Quickly played okay. I thought he played okay. I thought he missed a bunch of shots that you want him to take. But if you're just talking about how did he play? How was he? Like, I never watch a game. I'll put it this way. I never watch a game and I'm like, what the fuck was like where was Quickly at tonight? Like, where was his head at tonight? What was he trying to do? What? I never watch games like that. I might even have games with Quentin Grimes where I watch him and I'm like, I don't really know what the fuck he was trying to do, but I never feel like, oh, he just didn't. He didn't, he tried to cheat on a rotation. He tried to skip out on this, just lazy stuff. Like he might fuck up a rotation because he fucked up a bunch against Minnesota, but I don't think that's because of lack of effort. I don't think it's lack of focus. I just think he fucks up. Like this RJ Barrett game today, the first three quarters, whatever. I can almost just about deal with that. It's like bad offense, sloppy. He's just not getting it going. Doesn't seem to have a plan when he gets the ball offensively. I can deal with that. Because I thought for the most part for the first 3 quarters, I was like, okay, he's actually like competing on defense. I see it. He's at least trying to get to those spots. Like, I'm not saying I was happy with it, and obviously you expect more from him at this stage of his career, but it's not. It's one of those games where I'd have been like, I'm not going to just totally destroy him for that game, right? That fourth quarter, and I mean this, from the first possession of the fourth quarter, with however many possessions he played, that was the worst quarter of his career, as far as I'm concerned. That was abominable. Like, the play that sums up everything that was wrong with this fourth quarter, it's 86-80. We have the ball. Coming up the floor, okay? Big possession. He gets the ball. He has Franz Wagner on him. I want to tell RJ Barrett one thing. I know Franz is a white boy. You don't have the.
He's not Tyler Hero, bro.
Yeah, you can't just ISO him, dude. Okay, I want you to know that. So he decides he's gonna do his ISO thing on Franz. Okay, fine. He does a spin move, and we know RJ's spin move is like it's. I did a spin move last week when I played pickup on a fast break, and I'm pretty sure I got more separation than RJ Barrett does.
You know what gets me mad about this quick tangent? What gets me mad about that? Like his spin adventures today that were like reminiscent of like the Fizdale Knicks. Yeah, Julius. He had recently actually begun, and I was gonna do a video about it for this weekend, but now he's in my doghouse, so fuck that. I'm not doing no positive video.
You can do a positive and you can do a mixed bag video.
No, fuck that shit. He got me so mad that
you don't want to put in effort.
No, fuck that. He's been using like a slow. It's usually right to left, which is you'll see like against Franz, it was mostly the other way, and it was also like further up the court. Usually, he's been using that spin along the baseline, and he's been using it to great effect for 2-pointers. Like, and he does it, and he'll throw some pump fakes in there, and like he doesn't predetermine things. But this shit, that was not the shit that we saw today. Today in the fourth, it was
so.
Yeah, I'll let you get back to.
So he does the spin move. I don't know who. I think it might have been Cole Anthony came over. I'm not sure if he poked it away initially. I'm not sure if Franz Wagner poked it away initially. Somebody poked it away. Okay, but as good fortune to have it, the ball is directly in front of RJ Barrett. The direction he's facing, it is directly in front of him. It's about 2 or 3 feet away from him. All he's got to do is go get the ball. And it's a loose ball. It's the fourth quarter. It is winning time. Yeah, you got to go get the ball. Go get it with some urgency. Go. What does he do? He slowly, pathetically, with zero urgency, zero care, what seemed like, honestly, it was a preseason level of effort he gave on this play. He just slowly, waddles over towards the ball. And Cole Anthony, who has flown 3 feet in the opposite direction when he tried to initially steal the ball from RJ, comes back and dives on that fucking thing like he's diving on a fumble in the fucking Super Bowl. Like
everything about RJ in this game was like bad decisions coupled with an unserious athlete. Like Franz broke his ankles twice. Once he broke it, I'm gonna tell you why. What happens when people get their ankles broken? They get their ankles broken because you're going one direction and you don't have enough core strength to stop. Remember when we used to talk about RJ Barrett's deceleration on offense?
Yeah.
When's the last time you heard anybody mention RJ's deceleration on offense?
And the other thing he did tonight,
unserious fucking athlete. We are 70 games through the season. You've played off all your fucking waiting for contract weight, and you're fucking falling all over the floor. You're falling all over your own feet. You're getting crossed left and right by 6'10" dudes. Franz is great, don't get me wrong, but he's not break your ankles twice in one fucking game great. Austin Reeves broke his ankles. Everybody's breaking his fucking ankles. He's breaking his own fucking ankles. Get this fucking guy. He broke me. If they move him this summer, good fucking riddance. I'm just over it. I'm fucking over it.
I'm probably not there yet, but I also have been at the point where honestly, and I know people were you went way over the top about the Minnesota game. I don't think I did. I'm sorry. Like, I just think at some point, I'll put it this way, right? Quickly's had a pretty uneven last 2 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah.
But like, guess what? He's given us like it was like 3 or 4 months of just like fairly metronomic, like good game, good game, good game. Really
And
good game.
I'll tell
Really
you
good game.
another thing.
Good game.
Quickly's
Good
good
game.
stuff. RJ's good stuff doesn't always even come, like, it doesn't make people better. Like, sometimes, yes, it helps in the sense that we're putting points on the board when he scores, and that's great. But like, I don't know. I had like a moment today, even before the fucking fourth quarter, where it's like,
what team is changing their defensive coverages to worry about RJ Barrett? Like,
none. And then beyond that, like, this is my thing. Like, we saw this happen a bunch of times today, and it's nothing. This is not the first time it's happened. This is just the first time it kind of broke me. And it's like, all right, you get the ball, and they just do so much. The Knicks do so much to accommodate him. They give him more time on the shot clock than they give Randle or Brunson or IQ. They're like, oh, you don't.
It takes so long to set anything up.
You don't have the proper setup. Here, reset it. Take 5 steps back. Wait, survey, snake the screen super fucking slowly. Also, you can get some, if you're lucky, difficult shot that he happens to be slightly improved at. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what other player who's like, the only other player I've seen who gets that kind of time to set up plays is like Randle and Giannis, who's not just like a ball pounding point guard or something like that.
And I think with Randle, it's not even the same. Like, because
no, it's not.
Randle
bending the defense.
Yeah, well, not even for fuck all that. Like, Randle is taking his time because he's like not a great processor and he needs time to set it up. Right. But you don't need to go fucking set a screen for a Randle all the time for him to get an advantage. Like, he can just create one for himself. RJ needs he needs so long. He needs the perfect angle.
If we accommodate OG Anunoby, who's fucking worse on drives this season by field goal percentage, although he doesn't drive anywhere near as much. If we accommodate OG Anunoby, who's not a good scorer on offense as much as we accommodate RJ, I promise you his stats are going to blow RJ's out of the water offensively. Well, he's older, and I get that, but like,
he's not.
It's crazy.
The difference is also like he's not going to require us. Like, he's not going to be catered to the same way because we're just going to be like, yeah, bro, you can be big Quentin Grimes. That's what you're going to be.
Right. If you get it, go. Just fucking go.
Yeah.
Be huge. Do your thing. And OG will happily do that because he's used to that and he'll get to do it more. Like,
but no, this RJ game tonight was just embarrassing, man. I mean, the fourth quarter, like, I lost count of how many bad offensive or defensive possessions he had. Like, I lost count. There was one. Okay, I remember this one. Right, it's 83-80. He just had made a really nice play, drives baseline, and dishes it to Hartenstein underneath the hoop. Okay, really nice play by RJ. Cuts the lead to 3. Great, wonderful, dandy. He gets back on defense. Okay, first of all, I don't think he has any idea what his cover, like who he's supposed to be on. Franz comes around the screen, and like a second after Franz comes around the screen, RJ finally realized, like, oh shit, I got to go chase him. He's just playing from behind the entire way there. Franz ends up hitting like a 22-foot step back, which on the surface of it, you'd be like, that's not a great shot. That you live with that shot. Go watch that shot back. That is a shot that is in rhythm. RJ is nowhere near him. Like, that's a
RJ
good
didn't
shot.
bother. RJ didn't bother him at all. There was plenty of times where he was just like, he babied him. It's like what RJ does to Tyler Hero.
Yeah,
it's like, you're not here. You're a cone.
Yeah, and then the play right before that. Okay, right before that, it's 78-80. The play right before that. You go back and watch that. And he did this later in the game too, which I'm going to talk about. He's in the weak side help spot. Okay, so naturally, because of the coverage the Knicks plays, and I understand this, that guy has to tag down aggressively into the paint and then recover out to the weak side shooter if the ball goes there. Okay, and I won't criticize him for the first part of it. He did that part. That's good. Good job. Guess what? You have to do the second part. You can't just not do the second part. And he didn't do the second part. And Caleb Houston got a fucking wide open 3 because he left Obi Toppin 2-on-1 and made 0 attempt to recover.
And that wasn't the last time he did that shit.
He did this. And I'm going to talk about this. Because this was, I'm not, when I say this play was like, if you were out on RJ Barrett after this play, I would not blame you. Because that's how disgusting of a play it was to me. Okay? This is the play. All right, Knicks have cut the lead to 5. There is, or sorry, not. Hold on, I gotta find the right one. There's a couple here. Gotta make sure I pick the right one. No, okay, yeah. So the Knicks are down 5. Okay, with 1:20 left about. So, Magic bring the ball down the floor. Playing pretty decent defense. Same thing happens. They run a pick and roll. He helps off the drive. Okay, fine. They swing it to Cole Anthony. First of all, I don't even think he needed to help there. Like, that's just one where I think you have to stay home.
Yes.
And if you're gonna, and okay, fine. You want to say you're playing the scheme? If people want, like, well, you just said, like, yeah, that's okay, fine. You want me to be consistent? Watch his. I'm doing heavy air quotes if you're not watching on YouTube. Watch his closeout. Like, these are the Dr. Evil air quote level shit. Like, watch his closeout. That is.
The ball was out of his hands, and then RJ put his hand up.
It is unacceptable in that situation. 5-point game. One, like, we're talking about first quarter shit. I might just be like, that's annoying, right? Like, that's probably like one you're like, that's fucking annoying. 5, look, just about a minute left. He made the shot. The shot goes through at 101. Okay, so about a minute left. You get that rebound, you score. Let's say you get a quick 2. All you need is one more stop, and you're back in business. Like, you're one possession away. That is such an egregious effort. An egregious effort, just atrocious from him, abominable. And if you are out on like that possession, like you said, you're out on RJ Barrett or whatever after this game. We'll see how you feel about it tomorrow morning. But like that's about as close as I think I could ever come to being out on him without fully getting there, because that play is like everything about a basketball player, and that entire fourth quarter was like everything about a basketball player. Like, I talk about this all the time. Like, this guy's an empty stats guy. That guy's an empty stats guy. I don't like this game. I don't like that game. RJ Barrett right now is an empty stats guy.
Yes.
He is a high.
His stats is not even that good, but what stats he does have is empty.
Yeah, they're empty stats, and he makes so many losing plays, and he's done it all year. And like, I know that's not, we talked about this. He's been better since the All-Star break. Okay, fine. He's been better since the All-Star break, but the bar is so fucking low for him if that's the standard. Like,
and he's gotten worse, and like we've talked about the defense getting worse. Like we've covered that very thoroughly, but like the offense is what kills me. Like he wasn't taking 15 seconds to even when he had like 30 usage last year. He wasn't taking 15 fucking seconds and then never passing. Like I know he had 5 assists in the last game, but like when you're taking that much of the shot clock for low efficiency shots and low chance of passing, there's just not much production and value that can come out of it. And then
he good
just
at passing. He passes well against Miami because they trap, and he's really good at handling a trap. Like, he just like for whatever reason that
it forces him to be like, oh yeah, I'm 6'7" and I can do these passes.
Yeah, like and not just that, I have to do these passes because
he has no choice.
Split the defense. I have no option. The game today, I mean, there was one play I'm literally sitting here, by the way, refreshing the play-by-play for the game because there are like 4 RJ Barrett plays I just desperately need to clip because I'm just like, I have no idea what the fuck any of these plays are. But he had one play in the third quarter. He drives. Mind you, Grimes was on fire in the first half, right? Like, the primary reason that it wasn't a blowout at halftime is Quentin Grimes, who was fantastic tonight.
We'll talk about Julius first half, but like,
yeah,
Julius was like, oh, Grimes is cooking.
I think Julius. I don't think it was that. I think Julius was like, I think he realized he was being a gigantic fucking asshole.
Yeah, I mean, that's two sides of the same coin. Yeah. But he was like, I gotta make up for it and look out for my guys.
I'm not giving him the credit for like.
I'm just saying you're right. That's what he was doing.
He didn't recognize Grimes cooking. He was like, I recognize I was being a raging asshole, and my way to make up for it is to just actually pass the ball and stop playing like a raging asshole.
Yeah, but he was specifically like, I'm gonna pass it to Grimes.
You can keep trying to get me to do this. Not gonna give it to him. Sorry, sorry, not today.
So real quick.
No, I just need to.
Okay.
Because he did this with Obi in the fourth quarter too, and Obi was in the corner. But at least like with the Obi in the corner, I'm like, okay, maybe he just doesn't want to pass to Obi in the corner, and I'm like, I can live with that a little bit. Like, I don't actually think that's the right choice, but I can at least understand that. He has Grimes in the corner. He gets in the lane, and what does he do? He takes and this is the thing, there's such a difference now because he's actually like managed to get good floaters and good little flip shots versus like the bad ones. So when you see the bad ones, you immediately are like, that's a bad one. Like I know it. That's a bad one right there. And he has Grimes. He's driving to his left. He's going to his left. Grimes is in that corner to his left. Like that's RJ's strong fucking hand. Like you have to make that pass. You got to make that pass because you got three guys in the paint, right? What does he do? He doesn't make that pass. He tries to flip it over, and it's this bullshit fucking push shot. It's a high arcing one, so you automatically know that it's not going in because he doesn't have the touch for that to go in. And like, it's like, okay, well, he just has so many plays like that, and I'm like, I don't understand like that. And look, maybe this is us, when you're fans and when you're not even fans, but when you're just watching it game by game, it's hard to like. When he has a good game, you're like, great game. Then he has a bad game, you're like, what the fuck, you suck again. And it's like this constant roller coaster. But all I can go by is just how I feel ultimately, like how I feel watching him play. And I don't feel good about how, like we talked about.
And this is what I'm saying. His good is not winning. It's not when he's playing well, you're like, oh, he was fine. He helped out. We talked about this before, right? How often has his good won us a game?
But it's not that actually. It's his good is like we were arguing this in the Discord the other day, and there were a few people that were saying I was just too harsh on him after the Minnesota game, and I'm like, and they were like, he's been much better since All-Star break, and I'm like, I think he's been better, and then I just like go back, I'm like looking at the game like just because you got to like remind yourself like, okay, what are the games like? What games did he play? Right? Like I got to remember the schedule here, right? And it's like, I'm looking through this, okay? I'm just looking through this. I'm going to read off the games. I'm not even going to tell you, like, what RJ Barrett's lines are. I'm just going to read off the games. And you can, if you remember off the top of your head, you tell me if you think they were good RJ Barrett games, bad ones, whatever. Knicks win. This is the game you went to go see live. Knicks at Wizards, 115-109. They won.
I honestly don't even remember that much.
He didn't close that game. That was a game he was pouty on the bench. I didn't think he played a good game, okay? So that's just, I don't think he played a good game. At best, we can call that an okay game, okay? Pelicans, Knicks beat the shit out of them 128-106.
That was his best one.
Yeah, that was a really good game. Good RJ game. Knicks beat the Celtics at home 109-94.
That was, I don't remember that much.
That was a bad game for him. For me, like that was a bad game.
Yeah.
Knicks beat the shit out of the Nets 142-118. That's like a fine. Like he was fine because there was a lot of fine in that game because it was just like we were up 25 the entire game. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, okay, Knicks play at the Heat 122-120. Knicks win.
That was a good one.
I thought he was okay that game. So I'm at two okays, one awesome, and three okays, one bad, and one awesome. Okay, Knicks beat Celtics double overtime 131-129. That is unequivocally very good to great game from him. Okay, so Hornets 112-105. This is like another meh game. It's okay to me at best because he started off great and then he finishes 9 of 24 for 27 points somehow, or 10 of 24, where the fuck he finishes. At the Kings, straight up bad game for him. That's a straight up bad game. At Clippers, that first half is one of the worst first halves I've ever seen him play in my career, in my life.
I think that was his worst plus minus of the season, if I recall.
Maybe, but that's just a flat out bad game. Knicks beat the Lakers.
Yeah, I just looked at his game log. That was his worst.
Yeah, Knicks beat the Lakers. That's a very good RJ game. It's a great RJ game. That's a very good one. Okay. Knicks beat the Blazers 123-107. I'm gonna say largely meh. Okay, it's okay. It's fine. Nothing fantastic. It's okay. Knicks beat the Nuggets. One of his best games of the season. Excellent game. Love seeing everything about that game. Okay, here are the next three. Timberwolves 140-134 this week. So it's just this week. Timberwolves, Heat, Magic. It's bad. It's good, and it's bad. Atrocious. This and the Clippers game are that bad doesn't suffice. These are atrocious performances. And does that just forget whatever the tally was? Does that sound like a guy who's just been really solid since All-Star break and had a bad game and that we should just that's it? Like, this is my problem with it. I'm like, I agree he's been better since the All-Star break. I just don't think he's still been that good. And like, I expect more. I'm sorry, I expect more because you see flashes of him doing it, and it's like, well, why can't you?
And
Like,
it's also like think of it like this, right? Like, how old is RJ? 22.
yeah, he's 22.
How old is IQ? 23.
Yes.
And how old is
Are you
Grimes?
surprised that I don't know like the exact amount of days?
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not like 23.45 since our Lord arrived to us in a manger in Maryland. Grimes is, I think, 23, right?
Grimes is 22. I'm pretty sure. I'll check right now.
Okay, so this is my thing. We know IQ's head and shoulders above those guys. So
Grimes
let's
is 22. He's going to be 23 in less than in just over a month.
okay. So put IQ aside. This is my thing. We've seen Grimes like he had a wall, and then in the last week or two, he's kind of begun to get his legs back under him, and you see the above the break threes coming back. You see him taking more pull-up threes. You see the 3-point volume ratcheting up. Today you saw him drive from the corner to score, despite there being traffic, right? Like he didn't pass it. So you're seeing kind of the volume get turned up on his play as a whole on offense. And my whole thing with RJ is when I defend him, it's like look at a lot of guys around the league when they were 22, right? Like look at fucking Jalen Brunson when he was 22. Look at Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby when they were 22. They were scoring like 9 points a game. But that being said, look at Quentin Grimes on his own team. If say I could put a fucking magic spell over Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau and convince them that that Quentin Grimes was a top 5 pick and needed absolute organizational commitment on the court. 30 minutes a game, usage of at least 25. RJ's usage is, I think, 26 or 27. And like Grimes in our offense is mostly just a shooter and a cutter, but like there's more there. We know that much, right? Like obviously, like I'm not counting summer league, but even just looking today, like you see he can explode to the rim. He can take threes off the dribble from really far out even. We know he's a good passer, and he does all that, and he does most of his work not attacking from the top of the key because that space is reserved for the 4 main scorers on our team. And the top of the key is where you're allowed to use the most creativity, right? Like that's just because you have more room and you have more threats of shooters around
and
you.
you kind of need to because it's also like that's like top of the key possessions are like that is the territory of the great offensive perimeter players in the league.
Yeah. If you're operating from the top of the key, like even if you're a good player, like think of like Evan Fournier on the Magic, right? Like top of the key with Vooch, like they weren't fucking going to the conference finals, but they would cook people occasionally because both of them were really good and they operate from the top of the key. If you let Grimes operate from the top of the key as much as RJ gets to on 25 fucking usage, I promise you this motherfucker would be untouchable in trade talks. Untouchable. He'd be hitting pull-up threes. He'd be hitting mid-range shots. He'd probably be exploding to the rim and doing dump-off passes left and fucking right. So we're at the point where like it the RJ stuff is not only harming us to win, but it's taking away usage from guys who could do more for winning and for the future from what we're doing. It's not just IQ, right? Like we've all talked about this in the past, like, right? Like IQ has supplanted RJ in the pecking order, not in terms of usage, but in terms of just like we know the fucking front office knows the fucking deal now. Even though RJ got paid. But like you can't convince me we wouldn't be better off switching Grimes and RJ's role. RJ's so good at the corner 3 and he sucks at all these other threes. Fine, take corner 3s and attack closeouts from the corner. He's good at attacking closeouts
He
from
also
the corner.
apparently can't like shoot threes when he's tired. Like he just can't jump consistently now on threes. It's so
He's an unserious athlete right now. He's not an NBA athlete right
I'll
now.
say this. I remember before the season, at the start of the season, there was a pod. I think it was right after the first game of the season, right? He had a terrible game against Memphis. But right after that, Chris Vernon, who is on the Ringer NBA show, he got on his pod and he was like, RJ, like, I don't know what the hell this guy did this summer. He's out of shape, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, don't say that. RJ is fucking serious. It's the one thing we can always say about it. He was right. He was right. And we're fucking, like you said, we're 73 fucking games into the season or 74 games into the season or however many fucking games are into the season. And 75. And he's still like, I'm sorry, man.
At least guys like James Harden, like they come in unserious and then work their way to serious. RJ
I just
came in
don't
unserious and remains unserious.
I just don't understand how. I don't get it. Like, I honestly just don't understand anything about a season this year. I'm honestly kind of hoping that we hear at the end of the year that, like, he was playing through, like, some fucking, like,
parasites in his lungs or something.
Yeah, just something. He needs surgery after the season. I don't know. Something. Because this shit, it's like he can't give you, like, there was 1 month where he actually looked like a fluid athlete, right? It was like December. He got hurt. And when he got back from injury, he had a couple good games, but then there was like another month where he just looked like he couldn't move again. And then it's like, since then, it's just been like, there's a few good games and there's a bad game and there's a good game and there's a couple bad games. And it's like, there's no consistency. There's nothing that you can be like I said, every single time you're like, I think he's about to turn the corner. Like, I think it's going to, and then it's, nope, not happening. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like,
he's playing right now like an entitled coach's son. Like he has no confidence in his fucking jumper. They're just giving him like 10. I know like we're a Maury ball team, but they go under screens. He doesn't pull it. They give him like 18 feet of space half the time on his drives, and he doesn't have any mid-range game to speak of or a long-range floater. It's only short-range floaters, and he's just like, I'm gonna still take all of these shots no matter what. I'm still not gonna pass. I'm still gonna do the same thing. He's playing. Like this fucking guy needs a wake up call, dude. Like it's pretty fucking bad. Like it's what he's doing on both ends and whatever the fuck he's doing off the court that has resulted in him being in not NBA shape is a fucking disgrace. It's a fucking disgrace. I don't care if he's 22 years old. He had accolades for his whole fucking career about how he's a consummate professional, and that was the one thing that everybody could rely on, like you said. And now what? He's gained a short range floater. That's about it. He's a worse shooter. He's a worse jump shooter, I should say. He's a worse defender. He's a worse athlete. What the fuck are we doing? Like at this point, like, you know, he wasn't. I don't even want to get into the Donovan Mitchell stuff. I just hope he's like you said, if there's no reason that we are not privy to understand right now for all of this, then like this is just way too much for me to continue giving him the benefit of the doubt and for me to like give a shit if he's on this team anymore. Why I keep thinking about Grimes, who's fucking hooping his ass off, has had to go through like he's had to go through way more role reduction and all
Grimes
this other
has
shit.
He has the worst job on the team. His job is this. This is his job. Literally, this is his job when we're at full health right now. Okay, here's the job: defend the best player on the other team. Don't touch the ball on offense. Just stand in the corner and wait for kickouts. Don't dribble the ball ever. Also, once Josh Hart comes in the game in the first quarter and the third quarter, you're probably done for the night. That's his job. That's it. And I'm not gonna say he's been fucking fan. He struggled this year too. But yeah, again, like this was always my thing. We talked about this last year, and I'm pretty sure you were like, at some point in like the middle of the year, you're like, I don't care if Quickly is trying hard, like he's got to make shots. And I'm just like, dude, I don't care. Like, I think like I believe he's gonna start making shots, but like all the other stuff here is still good. Like all this other shit is still good.
Yeah.
With Grimes, I'm kind of in a similar place where like I don't personally, this is just me. I don't feel like as confident in terms of like what his upside ceiling, whatever the fuck, however you want to phrase it.
Sure.
I'm not as bullish on Grimes as maybe others are. I'm not as bullish on him as I was about Quickly. I do think he's going to be a solid starter for sure. But like what I know for sure with Grimes is like there are a few things, like he's going to give me a couple things every single night. You know what I mean? Like I know that I can bank on him playing hard and executing defensively. Like, yeah, he might fuck up every now and then. He might have a bad defensive game. but every single night he's going to give me the effort, and probably 85% of the nights he's going to actually play good defense, right? I know that. I
And
can
even when
bank
he's
on that.
having weird, like he's over the last couple of days, even today, he's like missed dunks and had some like weird finishes around the rim. But like, you're like, oh, he had a fucking dunk. He had a layup where his hand clapped the backboard.
Yeah,
Like that's a high percentage shot. So that's why it's frustrating when he misses. Well, RJ,
yeah.
it's like, when's the last time this motherfucker clapped the glass on a layup? Like,
I just when is the last time he just like you saw that rebound that Grimes got in the first quarter, and then he went back up with it for like the putback. Like RJ, literally, I'm not joking. Like this is not a joke. This isn't even an exaggeration. He cannot do that. He can't do that. Like he can't go get me that rebound, and he sure as hell can't jump from a fucking standstill. Like he can't jump from a fucking standstill and finish like that over a big over like at a, like I just he can't do that. And so when you watch Grimes struggle, and he has struggled for a bit, like I still there's still enough there where I'm like, okay, this is fine, and I can deal with this because I think like at the end of the day, right, like when you come through these struggles, like all young players, unless you're one of these fucking prodigies, and even a lot of prodigies have this issue, right? Like you're gonna part of development is like you're gonna have a stretch where you suck ass, right? That's just how it is. You're gonna suck ass. Okay, but the hope is while you're figuring things out, while you're sucking ass, you're gonna come through that and you're gonna be a better player. You're gonna make better decisions. You're gonna you're gonna be better for it. And like with quickly, like last year we saw at the end of the year, all that shit he was dealing with for like the first 45, 50 games, he turned it around towards the end of the season, right? And like we saw with quickly this year, he struggles for the first 20 games, puts together, and like again, we talked about. I know the last couple of weeks have been up and down. I still feel like he's pretty tangibly progressed as a player. Like I don't even think that's a debate anymore. And it's like, okay, so you see the actual progress. That's good stuff.
Quickly stuff is like he's legit a fucking problem, but like you want him to be a supernova. Like today, quick tangent. Today I was getting frustrated with Quickly because I'm like an immigrant parent with Quickly. I'm like, it's not enough that you play defense and you're creating several pick sixes and all that shit and are finishing well at the rim. What did he end up 5 of 10 on twos, I think, in the paint or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I tweeted about it. I was like, damn, they keep going under screens. And I'm like, yo, like fucking take their soul, bro. Like that's when you should demoralize them. And I get that like he's facilitating the offense a lot of the time, especially today with no Brunson, right? So he has to probe, he has to kick, he has to draw fouls, he has a lot of other things on his plate. But like I was like, man, if he could just fucking pull when they go under a couple of times, we're trading a lot of two. It was at a point in the game where we were trading a lot of twos while they were hitting threes. So I was like, come on, I know you can drill the shot. And then I look up and it's like, oh, like 20 points and like 50% shooting or whatever. And I was just like, of course, this fucking kid has like, it's still like he's having a good offensive game. It's just,
the start was terrible. He had a terrible start, and he had a stretch where he just like he was taking bad threes, and it especially stood out, or didn't even stand out, but it was like it made it all the worse that the entire team was like taking threes and not making a single one for like 5 minutes in a row, and it's like so it stood out for that reason.
Real
but
quick,
like
in our Discord we were joking before, like throughout the day, about like baseball comparisons for NBA players and stuff like that. And quickly, the way it felt to me was like imagine a pitcher who has like 4 or 5 great. I know you don't give a fuck about baseball like that, but imagine a pitcher who has 4 or 5 great pitches and can also throw like 97 miles an hour with a good fastball. Just being like, I'm gonna hit this batter with all of my like off speed stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's cool that you have great off speed stuff, but also just throw your fucking heater, bro. Like that's how I feel Quickly now that he has his superpowers. It's like, don't forget about your fastball, dude.
Yeah, I think sometimes, it's like, didn't Mariano come up with he had to come up with like a second pitch late in his career because it just wasn't the cutter all the time.
Yeah, he came up with another fastball, which was also really good.
Right. So he was like, it's like that. He's like, it's like, yeah, dude, the floater's awesome. Happy you got it. Like, can you do the other one though?
Right, you can hit layups now. That's fucking great. High percentage shot, but also like, I'm like Mitch and Julius we're setting some killer screens, and these guys were just going under, and quickly he
It's
wasn't
because he started like shit from 3. That's what it was. That's
he
honestly
he
what it was.
he wasn't wasting them. Like, he was using the space that they gave him to create momentum, like the Rondo style, like when they would used to give Rondo space and he would just use that to speed up into the that's what Quickly was doing. So it wasn't like the screens were wasted or anything, but it's just like, damn, bro, like I know you could give me one of those 10 3-point attempt games, bro. When's the last time we had one of those aside from Boston?
Yeah, I mean, I think I still think he's like working through stuff. Like
He
it's
is,
so
he
he's
is.
not like some done. Oh, yep, he's here and it's all figured out. Like no, I think he has
This
a
is not his final form.
no. I think his biggest thing
Yeah.
is like you can see when he misses a few threes to start a game, he like starts hesitating on pulling them, and I get that. Like that's a natural thing, and partially some of that's also because of like especially when Brunson's healthy, he knows like if I pull this shit and I keep missing, like I'm gonna get pulled. I'm not necessarily blaming Tibbs for that in this sense either. It's just like that's the reality, so I kind of get it. But like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I not like tonight, like yeah, it would have been nice to see him pull a little bit more. I didn't have a huge problem with it because I also think he like just needed to go inside the arc to
Yeah,
get
the alternative was fine. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like
And he needed to get into a rhythm. I think the team just needed to like see the ball go through the fucking bucket a few times and just get stable. Like just stabilize the fucking game for a second. So I was fine with it. But like,
that's
yeah,
the
I
one
agree.
thing, like with Brunson, is like he obviously, Brunson's a wizard on offense, and he just I don't know. Kyle Lowry, before he became old and like lost all his powers in Miami, was the king of this, where like he would take a lot of threes, but he'd have stretches where he didn't, and then he would just sense like this is the time to break their soul. And like you would think he was in the middle of like, oh, pure point guard shit, and then he would just like fucking pull it from three, and just it would be just a fucking nut busters, ball breakers. And you know, Brunson does that too. Brunson is like, there's times where he doesn't need a three, he has it going from two, and then he'll just be like, surprise, motherfucker, pull up three in your mouth. And like quickly has that. He's just learning when to deploy it as the off ball guard, as the on ball guard, which is very tricky, like you said.
Yeah, and it's also like I just think I will note something, and I'm not. I want to be very like this is just a theory, and it has nothing. It's not even necessarily one that's a permanent one. It could be like very transient because we've seen him play well with Brunson. But I do think it's interesting to note that like his he's not his he seems a little bit like off since Brunson came back, and it's like weird because they're not even necessarily on the floor together, but like I don't know, it just seems like he's been a little bit off since then. So it's also kind of funny that like he had one of his better games in the last couple weeks, like tonight when Brunson was out. I don't really like. It's not even like a thing where I think Brunson is fucking him up. I just wonder if he like gets in his own head a little bit when Brunson's now that Brunson's back because he's like, well, I got like he got used to a thing and it's like it's a different thing now that he has to get back to being used to. So I wonder if there's just something like that, but like whatever. But yeah, like I just with RJ and these guys, and then you see with Grimes, it's like, and we can talk about Obi too, where it's like people talk about like, oh, we haven't done enough to cater to RJ, which I just don't agree with anymore.
That's
But like,
insane. That has been insane. Let me real quick. That has been insane. There was no point at which that statement was like not fucking ridiculous to me personally. Like, even the times where it's like, oh, we freeze RJ out, like, oh, why don't we, like, he has it going versus Tyler Hero? Sure, whatever. Guess what? He still has 26 usage on the season. He still has 26 usage on the season.
yeah,
Go look at the list of players who have 26 usage. They're usually fucking better than RJ Barrett. So shut the fuck up and can we let him earn it? How about that?
yeah, he was just. It's just like all I was gonna say is like with Obi, like if you want to see what it looks like for a team to just not cater to a lottery pick, that's it. That's the guy right there. They've done nothing. Like he was a -25 tonight, and I didn't think he played well. But
He
like,
was fucking horrible.
yeah, he was terrible tonight. And like,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm kind of like at the point where it's like I think Jeffrey Rasmussen at Frank Barrett, he tweeted this out where it's like just don't play him. Like if this is what you're gonna do with him, and you have no interest in like trying to use him in ways that like about like to leverage his skill set. And you just want him to be a fucking floor spacing 4. Like, just don't play him and play Deuce instead, and like go small in those looks for a bit or whatever the fuck you want to do. But it's like, and that's
I sympathize with that a little bit, but like at the same time, like this guy's shot 20% on catch and shoot shots since the All-Star break. Like Tibbs is giving, like, yes, the role is dumb. The role is absolutely stupid. But like the stuff that we're seeing from him now, like he's missing dunks. He's like fumbling the ball. He's missing what the teams are literally treating him like he's Mitchell Robinson. Remember when he was getting crazy closeouts early in the year? Teams are fucking daring him. He hit a big 3 today when we were coming back, and I had such relief on my face.
He's forcing threes. He's forcing threes. That's the thing.
He has no idea. Like you've talked about this, and this is partially a symptom of him getting in his head by being in the wrong role, which is like he doesn't know when is appropriate to shoot and be a floor spacer, and when to put it on the deck and cut. He hasn't cut. There's been times today where like they gave him so much fucking room that I was like, dog, everybody's in the paint anyway. Just fucking cut and just dunk it over their head. Somebody will find you. Like he's been so fucking bad that like for both the Knicks and for Obi, like I just can't wait till they part ways, because the thing is like defensively he's better than we thought at the stuff that we thought he was going to struggle at. Like a lot of the one-on-one, like let's target Obi stuff. He's actually pretty good at that. The shit that he sucks at is all the little things, and they consistently add up, especially in this defensive scheme, which again, bad fit, right? Like when he's the nail help guy, perpetually too far out of position, perpetually. Teams constantly take advantage of that. That's not them targeting Obi. That's being like, oh, I have one guy who's a good shooter, like wide open, because this tall guy on the Knicks is like out of place. I'm going to take advantage of that. That's not picking on Obi so much as it is like little things that he constantly does that just become losing plays on defense. And then on offense, now that he can't be relied on to cut, finish apparently, or shoot threes, it's like, dog, like I know he's a better shooter than this, but his shot selection is just fucking things up for him. But like 20% from catch and shoot, like my God, like I don't fucking blame Tibbs for not playing him more than 10 minutes. I don't, because this guy's gonna fuck up your defensive scheme, and he's not gonna do anything on offense.
I just think it's over. Like
it is over.
Tibbs he doesn't want to use him. And if Obi is checked out or something at this point, wouldn't really blame him. I thought he played okay the last game.
I don't think he's checked out. That's the thing that's most disappointing for me. I treat like all the good.
I don't think he has any. It doesn't matter if he's checked out. If he doesn't have confidence, it doesn't matter what the fuck it is. He is not playing with any juice right now. Like,
he's not playing with juice, but it's different from not playing. Like these threes that he's getting. It's not like he's hesitating on them. Even the ones, like, not the bad ones, where he's, like, taking ridiculous, hard, difficult, like, highly contested corner threes after pump fakes. I'm talking, like, the wide open ones. Like, he's just shooting them and fucking can't make any. Like, he's not hesitating. He's just being a shitty shooter.
I don't think he has any confidence. That's what I think. Like, I think he's like, okay, I'm open, I have to shoot it. And he's rushing shots. I think he's taking shots that he doesn't even want to take, because like that's what he's supposed to do when he's on the floor. Anytime he's open or remotely open, he's taking shots. And they're not shots that are in rhythm to me. Like the 3 he made tonight versus all the threes he missed, there's a very clear difference in most of those, I think. I have no, like, Obi's done. He's not going to be here next year. And the Knicks have wasted a lottery pick on him. Not because I think he's a bad player. I just don't think they did anything at any point to try and.
They decided it was a sunk cost very early.
Yeah. Whatever. But yeah, like if you want to see an organization that's an example of a player who's been let down by his organization and is now letting down the organization, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
With his play.
That's a good way to put it.
RJ Barrett is just that. It's just not an example of that. Like, yeah, we can sit here and talk about like, oh, the terrible spacing the first 2
Everybody
years
who's not Brunson and Randle has sacrificed a lot to support this team's vision of good basketball, right? Like quickly, well documented. This guy was stuck behind a bunch of guys, and even now, when he has the coach's trust, he still has. You talked about Grimes' extremely difficult job. Quickly's job is right up there with it, right? Like
Well, I think it's even harder because his job changes every fucking
yeah,
week.
he got 3 full-time jobs out here, man. This guy's working.
Yeah. I just the RJ thing is like it's honestly just as a fan like it's kind of insulting to watch him play this year. And it's disappointing because you're like what the fuck happened to you after your second year in the NBA? Like even last year, like it was good. It was better. I was like, okay, like the defense slipped a little bit, but that makes sense. You're on 30 usage. Like I get it. Like it's not going to be the same thing. Fine. This year is just I don't even know what to say about it. Like he clearly is not in close to ideal shape. He can't seem to find any shred of consistency. I think his good games are forget his best games. We're just talking about the average RJ game this year is not very good. It's okay, maybe. And I say that with some high praise. But like it's just I don't even know what to say other than that at this point with RJ. It's just like I don't have any faith in him when he's lining up a three. I have no faith in him right now. He doesn't look like he has faith in himself, but then he also will like still pull the trigger. He just everything about how he's playing right now is not now, just very like this season has just been so up and down. It's been miserable, and I will say this: like, I'm still not at the point where I'm like just dump him, but like I get it a lot more now.
Not dump him, but like thoroughly explore what you can do here.
Yeah, I just
thoroughly, actively, not passively.
It's just funny because it's like at the start of the year I was like all for like let's just move Randle and like let's give RJ the shot, and it's like so like I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, well, am I just rushing to judgment on RJ? Like I don't know. All I know is like how I feel right now and how I feel like honestly based on his entire season is just
you
like
could have more patience if the like let's keep it a buck, right? Like the team's timeline has moved up quickly, got a lot better than we thought really fast. Randle bounced back a lot.
Not we.
We didn't even think he would fucking bounce back, right? Like Mitch, ups and downs, still pretty fucking good.
I don't even think the downs are like that significant with Mitch. I think they get overblown.
I agree 100%. And so like guys, like the guys that this front office has bet on for the most part have rewarded them in a big way, which is why they're really good right now, especially since Tibbs is, like we have issues with Tibbs, but he's pressed a lot of the right buttons over the last couple months and it's worked really well. And when your players are really fucking good, like we've detailed our top, excluding RJ, like the rest of the guys in the rotation are pretty fucking good, excluding RJ and Obi, right? Like Josh Hart came in as a killer. Even Deuce, when he fucking plays, is really good. And he's even shooting the ball these days when he gets the opportunity to play. So like if we were just rebuilding and slow rolling it, then sure, like take your lumps, dude. But like this is a different context, man. Like it's not only us trying to win now, it's also like us trying to juice our young guys so we can win more now and later. And that was why I brought up the point earlier about like what if we accommodated IQ by giving him more on-ball reps? What if we accommodated Grimes by letting him attack from the middle? What if we accommodated Mitch by letting him dribble once in a fucking blue moon? What if we accommodated iHeart by letting him facilitate from the elbow, right? Like all of these things are valid concerns that if I was any one of those individual players, I would 100% be like, I could help our team win right now if I got a little longer leash to do me, right? But they don't. They do what's asked of them. They buy in. They do their jobs fucking well, despite the fact that there's very strong arguments that each of them individually can and should be doing a lot more. And because RJ's busy fucking around, none of these guys get to do a lot more of that. It trickles down to all of them. To Deuce, IQ, Hart, Mitch, and Grimes. All of them sacrifice. RJ doesn't. And he's one of the reasons that they have to sacrifice more because this fucking guy has to get 26 usage and play no defense for 30 minutes a game. So, like, that's not the situation we predicted coming into the year. The situation has changed. If it was guys, if Grimes was just like, oh, like, and you like take it, like you said, like we can differ on his ceiling or whatever, but like the bar is so low for like what somebody else could do with those shots that like, yeah, I would want, even if you don't think Grimes has on-ball juice, I'm pretty sure we could all agree we would love for him to take 10 3-pointers a game, right? Like just regularly. And despite his being smaller than RJ, we could all love if we lined up some Brunson IQ Grimes lineups and let Grimes try his hand on someone like Franz instead of RJ. While IQ also played with Brunson.
Didn't he stripped he stripped Paolo right at the end of the first half on a play like.
Yeah,
and
there's times where like I forget if it was Franz or Paolo or one of these big motherfuckers, but like Grimes gets babied. Like he's still 6'5", right?
Even when guys back into him and they can get their body into him, they can do it. But like,
yeah,
he fights more. He uses what he has better than RJ uses.
He's not gonna fall on the fucking floor or not like put his hands up on a closeout.
Yeah, it's
Grimes had an amazing. He had 2 strips. He had one in the half court, but he had that transition strip. Is that the one you were talking about where he was like he broke up a 2-on-1?
No, that was one too, but it was one at the end of the first half where like Paolo tried to ISO him and he just stripped him.
Yeah, that 2-on-1 shit was like ninja hands. That was like some Deuce McBride quickly type shit. It was great.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna talk about a little bit more stuff, but before we do that, ready for the underdogs, the upsets, and the unbelievable action from DraftKings Sportsbook? The biggest tournament in college basketball is here. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on college hoops and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all customers can score a no-sweat bet during round 1 and 2 of the tournament. Go to the app, opt in, and place a no-sweat bet this weekend. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code XXX. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, win or lose. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code XXX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. I want to talk a little bit about Julius Randle, who his game is whatever it was tonight. I don't think the plus minus is necessarily indicative of like he led the team plus minus. I think he was a plus 20. He was not the team's best player tonight, like not by a long shot. But I don't think his shot selection was what really let him down. I thought in the first half more than anything.
They weren't like bad shots, but like like individually, but collectively, they were all like way out of rhythm. And
I don't know that first 3 he took that he got blocked on. I was like, that just a terrible shot.
I think I missed that while my fucking stream was updating from Ukraine or whatever.
that was not a good shot. I mean, look, it doesn't really matter. The point is, he didn't have a great game or anything tonight. But I didn't think he played a terrible game. I thought he played an okay game. He was fine. But like that fucking meltdown he had at halftime.
That was awful.
I just don't get, and this is like the second or third time he's done it this season again. And it's like, man, I don't know. I just, I still like in my heart of hearts, do I trust him? I don't. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't. And like, I still think ultimately you probably need to move him to assemble a true contender. But I don't care about that. I don't even want to talk about that. But this fucking meltdown he has, it's his third game. It's his third straight game with the Tech. Okay, this one is you cut the lead to 8. It's halftime. Just get back to the locker room. Okay, fine. You want to go over to the ref? You want to have a conversation? Fine. The ref wasn't trying to have it, right? So Quickly and Grimes go over there, and they're doing the right thing. They're just trying to take Julius away. They're not trying to do anything else. They're just trying to get him the fuck out of there. And actually, I'll say this to the ref's credit. When they were pulling Julius away, he was ready to just, like, he was not going to call a tech, right? That was it. That was over. Everything was good. Julius pushes them off of him. Then he goes over and tries to have the same fucking conversation, and he gets tech. And then finally Quickly takes him away because he's like still talking to the ref. And then he gets fucking mad at Quick. He gets in his face. And what I'll say is I think Quick did the right thing. Quick not did the right thing. I was happy. I was happy to see Quick like he fucking went back at Julius, actually, I think. I mean, you couldn't see it because the camera angle was like with to Quickly's back, so you couldn't really tell. But it didn't look it looked like he went back right at him. Then Julius not there. Hart comes over, kind of like puts his arm around Quick to kind of just like, I don't know, maybe take him away or whatever the fuck it was. But it's just like I just don't get that at all. And between like RJ's play was costly tonight, and I still like again, I really don't like putting a loss entirely on one person. So if you want to give,
I mean, it definitely wasn't entirely on him. That's just how weird of a stupid game this was.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't entirely on him because
that fourth quarter was on him, which I guess means you could say the game was.
Yeah, I mean, the nature of basketball is that it can't ever only be on one person.
Right.
But
considering it was a tie game, the fourth quarter was basically a new game, and he sank it. So
yeah, he was terrible. So
if you
want to say he was terrible and give Obi honorable mention for that too, fine.
No,
whatever.
Obi
but
played like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
whatever.
But like everybody else to some degree ultimately played positive minutes, or at least gave you positive stretches, positive contributions, whatever. But like Randle, like that's just the shit that with him where it's like, I don't know, man. I just don't know. He just seems still so fucking volatile. He still seems unhinged half the time. I just, it's still very worrying to me. Some of the shit you see from him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally fair. Like he's still like him and Brunson are supposed to be the leaders, and he's the one who got the All-Star berth and whatever, right? He's like, especially in the game without Brunson, and it's not an accident that a lot of his meltdowns have come in the games without Brunson, right? It's because he doesn't know how to. He needs a very specific infrastructure to deal with adversity.
Isn't that a reason to just dump him? Like, I'm sorry, like if it needs to be this perfect environment.
I don't think it's. I see what you're saying. I don't think it's necessarily like it has to be some perfect environment. It just has to be. He just can't be the number one. That's all.
But like that's
not. There's lots of other like I won't say there's lots of other guys who are like that personality wise because he's very special in that way. But like in terms of just how that manifests on the court, like
it's bullshit. I'm sorry, it is bullshit. Like the start of this game, this is what I thought. At the start of this game, I thought the way he came out, he was just like, I'm better than everybody else in the team. I'm not really interested in like playing team basketball. I'm just going to try to do this all on my own every time he touched the ball. That's what I thought. I thought he was selfish to start the game with how he played. His defensive effort was not great. I'm not going to say horrible, but it wasn't great. I mean, it was definitely not good. Let's put it that way. And it's like, it can't require this fucking meltdown that he has at halftime. And he probably felt like a raging asshole about it because
you can tell he felt like a raging asshole.
Yeah. And he came out in the second half and was better, like across the board, full stop. Better decision making on offense, better passing. The shots he did take were much better shots, generally speaking. His defensive, he had some really good defensive help sequences. He was so much better in the second half. And it's like, if that, like, it can't take that. It cannot take that. It cannot take him feeling flipping out and then feeling like a fucking gigantic asshole about it for him to give us that. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. And like, I get what you're saying about the Brunson thing, but like, what are we doing here? Like, the guy needs fucking 45 chaperones. Does he need a signed permission slip from his fucking mom too? To like, he needs this perfect infrastructure to make sure not everything is good. Like, give me a break, man. I mean, I saw people blaming Tibbs at halftime. Oh, well, that's on Tibbs for not pulling him away. That tech. He's a fucking grown ass man. He is 28 or 29 years old. However fucking old he is. He makes
Tibbs not pulling Randle away from anything. Randle is not.
It's also at halftime. If Tibbs was halfway down the fucking tunnel to go to the locker room, I would.
Right.
That wouldn't fucking surprise me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, at some point, like, he can just be like, and I'm not saying this to like, I'm not trying to bring this back to like, well, see, I was right last year. No, I'm not saying that. But like when he fucks up, we can just say he fucks up, and we don't need to like. I'm not. And again, I know you weren't trying to go there, but it's like I hear this shit all the time, right? Oh, well, Brunson has made Julius better, and that's why he's in this better mental place, and blah 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 blah. And it's like you know what that tells me. What that tells me is, he respects Brunson as a player. He does not respect these other guys as players, not to the same degree at all. He doesn't respect them as his peers. Let's put it that way.